Aeon Cults. Well, we finally made it, guys. So a few people have suggested that I should make an Aeon build, and today in this video we're doing just that, starting with the Titan. So people, sit back and relax, hit that subscribe and drop a rating, because we're about to create a build that supports our allies in those endgame activities. See you on the other side. Now here's your quick overview of this build. So this is your Titan Aeon Cult build paired with the Void subclass, and we'll be supporting our allies, giving them damage buffs, free orbs, unlimited special and some heavy ammo, as well as a few other minor things, and this build will work in those endgame harder activities. I'd recommend using this build in things like Master Nightfalls and Empire hunts. You could even try a Grandmaster, but I feel there are kind of better options to use. Now that said, let's create our build. So starting with our loadout as usual, I'm going with a pulse rifle and the Eriana's Exotic hand cannon, specifically for its built-in anti-barrier mod, and this will save us that slot in our gauntlets, and it's kind of a good weapon choice to use in Nightfalls. But if you don't want to use this, then you can use anything of your choice, but our build here today is focused around those weapons, so just change the things you need to make those adjustments if you are using something else. However, moving into our subclass, we are going with the Void top tree Sentinel, Ward of Dawn, or Code of the Protector, which will give us that Weapons of Light 35% damage buff. And with this, we also get Defensive Strike, which is actually pretty good, as our melee kills will give us and our allies an overshield, and then kills with that overshield active will grant us melee energy. So if you can play it right, you pretty much always have an overshield. But this also comes with Rallying Force, where melee kills restore health for us and our allies, and Turn the Tide, where our overshield lasts longer and increases melee damage, and reload speed, definitely good there, as it really does last a long time. But for our armor in the helmet, we're going with Radiant Light, where casting your super will cause nearby allies to become charged with light, and this is good for those who are using charge light mods, especially if it's a weapon buff mod, as it will stack with our bubble and will just make our allies pretty OP. But we also gain that plus 20 strength, which is also another good bonus to get our melee back quicker. Then we have hands on for extra super energy on those melee kills. Now here's where things get interesting. For our gauntlets, we are using an Aeon Safe, and you can choose any path. I thought the Sect of Insight was the best option here, as we'll generate orbs for our allies, generate special ammo when using a finisher on elite enemies, and heavy ammo when using it on a boss or mini boss. And not just that, but also give our Aeon allies a weapon damage buff for a short time, so that's quite a lot for one mod. But alongside that, we are using Taken Charge to become charge light by picking up orbs of power, which you should be making them for rapid kills with your masterwork weapon, which really isn't that difficult. But then for your champion mods, for our build, we are going to be using an unstoppable pulse rifle, but change this to what you need for the activity, as every Nightfall will be different. Moving on, for the chest, we are using Striking Light, which will give our allies even more orbs when we kill adds with our melee, which you should be doing often, and gain us damage resistance against enemies when sprinting. Then with that, we have our damage resistant mods. But then in the legs, we also have another Charger Light mod, and that's Reactive Pulse, but we're using this specifically for the powerful overshield when using our finisher, as we should be using our finisher almost all the time on those enemies to generate the infinite special ammo for our allies. But then there's Absolution for reduced ability cooldown on orb pickup. And lastly, for the class, we're using Shield Break Charge, and again, you can change these if you don't like them, as these ones aren't too important on how you become charged with light, so if you want to go with other ones, you can do. But for our last mod, we are using Sundering Glare, which will debuff enemies at a distance on precision hits, which is really good and stacks with our bubble. So if your allies can't kill bosses with both of these damage buffs, then find new allies. No, but seriously, they should be destroying bosses with all this, and there shouldn't be an excuse for them not to have special ammo. But finally, for your stats, I'd go with max strength for those melee abilities. Now this build isn't the best, but it's still a good build to choose if you don't have access to some of the other builds I make. If you do want to see my other Titan Ward of Dawn support build, you can view that in the playlist. But that is all for this one, and next you should go check out that playlist for more awesome builds, and I assure you, you will not regret it. But that is your Aeon build. Give it a try, drop a rating, comment, subscribe and share, because I hope to see you all in that next video.